tonight it's the Big E, or this morning it's the Big E, Eric Arnold, December 25th. Coming down the Christmas chimney to you. The Big E bringing you his present from me to you. Action. Christmas action. My God, we need some action. My little vacation's now over. I have returned to our Sports Barn studio. It's been about a week. I had escaped Tommy the Commie's lockdown, but now we're back. We're back. So we're going to be bringing you some Christmas action here in this video. Before the end of the weekend, we'll have the NFL picks for you. We'll try to sprinkle in some bowl picks, college football, and of course we've got all the college basketball you can shake a stick at. So that's how I'll probably be spending my Christmas, which is fine, you know, just fine. I'm, you know, I like my family, but, you know, sometimes I just want to, you know, I want to sit and do my thing, especially since I've been away for a week. I want to sit and handicap games. I just want a couple days where I can handicap some games and get back into the swing of things. And it looks like circumstances are going to work out such that I can do that. So what did we miss here? A whole week with, you know, I think I made all of like 2 videos. I gave you the NFL picks because that seems to be the thing that's most in demand. So I made sure I got the picks out to you, made sure we had some explanations for them. According to my notes, we were 4-3. You know, we had a couple pushes, although I think, you know, like for example, that Chiefs-Saints game of the year, we had the Chiefs, and I think most people covered with the Chiefs because they got 2.5 and not 3. But when I did it, I had 3, so we take the push there instead of the W. Probably the worst pick we had all last weekend were the Giants, where we said they'd beat the Browns. You know, just not, overestimated how good the Giants were. And I continue to underestimate the Browns. One of the things I think we have to look at on a positive note for the Browns are they have a great offensive line. And if you can identify a team with a great, cohesive, stable O-line, that's a team you got to look at. And, you know, despite the fact I hate Jimmy Haslam, the owner, you got to look at the Browns. You know, we got to be looking at them going forward. Probably the best picks we had, the Jets. You know, obviously we say, take the Jets, a 17-point underdog. Well, we didn't think they'd win outright. I mean, come on, Rams. What are you doing? But, you know, it was a good spot for the Jets. And then, you know, we managed to not get trapped by Belichick in Miami. A lot of people got trapped by Belichick. That number was wrong. And, you know, it was just simply everyone paying the Belichick premium, expecting him to pull a rabbit out of his hat. His team's just simply not that good this year. And the Dolphins are good. And believe it or not, they're probably not going to make the playoffs. I saw something that said they have like a 30% chance of making it. I guess they're like needing the Ravens to lose, and they play, I believe, the New York teams the next 2 weeks. So, you know, it's looking, you know, it's been a hell of a nice year for the Dolphins, but it could be all over at the end of the year. So, 4-3 in the NFL. I updated their numbers. You know, we're, as I continue to refer to, just a lost, horrifying, awful year in college football. Well, like I said, my excuse is the virus, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And I pray to baby Jesus, whose birthday it is today, that somehow next year will be a normal year, because it'll be everything back to normal. I don't know that's going to be the case, but you know, if they ask you, well, what do you want for Christmas, Eric? That's it. I want a normal sports year next year. And give me, which means basically it'll be a normal year for everything, because sports will be the last thing they put back to normal. So that's what I want. I know that's me, asking for a pony. I know that's probably a bridge too far. But I don't want knickknacks. I don't want stuff that clutters up my house. You know what I got today, or my wife got today, and she loves it. Just absolutely loves it. From my eagle brother, I got a giant Dallas star. A giant blue star. Star Dallas. What the hell am I supposed to do with this goddamn thing? I guess my wife says, it's going to go on the house. It's like, we're putting this on the house? It's a star. It's the Dallas star. It's blue. I mean, we're putting this on our house? It could easily be construed that I'm a Dallas fan then. And so, thanks. But, hey, right? Happy wife, happy life. I've read that somewhere. So, anyway, I don't want any knickknacks. I think my daughter-in-law, she got me a perfect gift. She got me beer, I can consume it, I can enjoy it, and then it's gone. It's gone. And if I really liked it, maybe there's a story to it. Actually, I'll give one of the beers to my father, not that he really wants it, but the beer is called DNR, Do Not Resuscitate. He's been told that a number of times. And he's still here, so I think he'll enjoy that, even if he doesn't like the beer. The beer's probably a little IPA-ish for his taste. He doesn't like that real bitter beer, but he'll like the story, so he'll force it down. What else we got here? Well, anyway, so we're above 500 in the NFL. We're off to a good start in college basketball. So yeah, let's do it. Let's get to it's soon going to be game time, right? I mean, some of you probably get up early. So I put these games in chronological order. We got college basketball. We got the Camellia Bowl. The Camellia Bowl in Montgomery, Alabama, has college football. Then we got the big NFL game at 4:30. That's the one I imagine will have the most viewership, the most handle, the most bet. And then late night, we got a big, you're looking at a big college basketball Big Ten schedule. And the Big Ten, I would say, is the premium conference in college basketball. Apologies to the Big 12 and the ACC, perhaps. I think there are just more top 20 teams. There are more teams that are going to be seated higher in the tournament. The conference is deeper. Even the crummy teams in the Big Ten aren't that bad. So this is an 8 o'clock game. Iowa with the number one player in the league, or I should say the country. I guess. I mean, that's what I hear on ESPN. Luka Garza, he's with Iowa. They're going to Minnesota. So we got a big slate here. So let's see, what do we got? Early, I think this is a noontime game. Wisconsin is going to Michigan State. You know that Tom Izzo has never lost at home to Wisconsin? I thought, well, that's odd. He handles these guys. I mean, I think the reason he handles these guys is because they play similar styles. And Michigan State just gets slightly better athletes. They just, if I'm a big bruising kind of power forward kind of guy, I'm a Draymond Green kind of guy. I might look at Wisconsin, I might look at Michigan State, but I'm probably going to Michigan State just because they're better. They've won titles. They're just nationally better. So I think that's why when the chips are down, you kind of, all things being equal, want Michigan State. They're catching a point here. I guess Wisconsin's favored, largely because they're returning basically their whole team from last year. But I just think you got to go here with the Spartans at home. Just think that's got the wrong marker. But I think you got to go there with the Spartans. Tom Izzo getting a point at home, even though there are no fans in the stands. I made a note. No, that was another game. Okay, so that's it. We'll take Michigan State there. Maryland, Purdue. That follows that game. That game's at Purdue. I think Maryland is starting to, people are kind of down on them. They got beat up pretty well by Rutgers at home. Rutgers kind of shoved them all over the place in the second half, and Maryland lost by 15 points or so. Purdue, I've seen some of them. Saw them play against, what game did we have them? We had them against Indiana State and they lost. Failed to cover. They won the game. They're just not. It seems like Purdue, when they were really dangerous, they had one guy that could light it up. It was that Karsten guy. I forget his first name. But he's gone now. And they just haven't really found themselves yet. One of the things that we like here as to why we're going to take Maryland, one of the things Purdue has on their resume is a nice win against Ohio State. But they played Ohio State without Ohio State's best player. Ohio State's best player so far this year, and I think he probably will be all year, is E.J. Liddell. And he didn't play for whatever reason against Purdue. So I think, the people looking at that line, they're saying, oh, well, look, Purdue, they beat Ohio State. And put a big old asterisk next to that one. I don't think that there's that much difference between these two teams, Maryland and Purdue. We're catching 6 points. That's a lot. And that number is going up. When I wrote it down some hours ago, it was 5.5, now it's 6. I'll take it here at 6. That's good enough for me. I would have taken it 5.5. But yeah, we like 6. Sure, we like that pretty well there with Maryland. Then we'll just put 1 star here. We're putting 1 star on these games just because I'm kind of forcing these picks. In other words, they're the only games going. I know you people want action. I want to give you what the people want. So we're going to give you some action. So an article, I think it was in the New York Times originally. The sainted Dr. Fauci, I guess, was being interviewed by the New York Times, and this guy's his own worst enemy. He's admitting that he just tells the people what he thinks they want to hear. He doesn't tell them what he thinks is the truth. He just makes it up. Oh, well, I told them what I thought they wanted to hear as far as the number of people that need to be vaccinated. It's like, you jerk. Did you get this is why no one wants to get vaccinated? No one trusts you. You've told 13 sides of the same story, you jerk. God, when this is all over and the history of this virus is written, Fauci, if it's written, say, fairly, maybe 100 years from now, Fauci's going to be one of the villains. I have no doubt about that. But what does that have to do with the Camellia Bowl? Nothing. So, Dr. Fauci, I'm reasonably sure, will not be at the Camellia Bowl. Screw it all up. It'll be Marshall getting 4.5 points from Buffalo. Buffalo should have won the MAC title. They blew it. Marshall, they should have won the Conference USA title game. They were favored in that. They blew that. So you have the Disappointment Bowl, I guess, here, Marshall facing Buffalo, which isn't bad because you got 2 pretty good teams. These are teams that should have won their respective conferences. I went round and round with this. I think the key to this game is you got to try to figure out who wants to be there. It usually is the key to bowl games, is motivation. Who wants to play? Because this year is more pronounced than anything in that you've got, what is it now, like 15, 20 teams that have just said, yeah, we don't want to play. I mean, usually they accept the bid, go on and lose, and demonstrate in that fashion that they didn't want to play. You know, the people are just starting to say what they mean, I guess, and just saying, yeah, fuck it, we just don't want to play. And they're not playing. It's kind of like that with the players themselves, where anybody that thinks they're going to hit the board in the first and second rounds of the NFL draft now, they're talking like, halfway through a season. Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, I got a good chance to get drafted here and make millions. So, my agent, or, I should say my parents, talking to an agent, I wouldn't be talking to an agent because that would be illegal. They're assuring me that that will not hurt my standing. So, yeah, I mean, it's been nice, but I really don't know this university anything. So, I may just opt out of the bowl game. That's a disturbing trend. I mean, I guess I see it both ways, in that these athletes are not paid. They really don't owe these colleges all that much. I mean, as far as who is getting more out of the athlete/college relationship, I would argue the colleges are getting much better of the deal than that athlete. But, we could argue about that for an hour. So, who was going to want to play this game? Well, I came down with Buffalo. I thought about this, and I really thought about this. And my record in college football's been so bad. It's like, I want to throw a winner on the board here, especially for this game, because we've got a lot of Marshall people. And so there might actually be some people watching this video that are going to watch this game. Buffalo is a running team. That's what they do. They like to run. Marshall, probably their best thing they do is play defense. So you got the force versus the object. Which one's going to win? I just kind of think that it's going to be cold. It's going to be cold in Alabama. It might even be a little windy. I'd rather have a running offense in those kind of conditions. Plus, another thing I was told by a Marshall source is that the Marshall quarterback, who's apparently a freshman, has forgotten how to play football. Now, granted, my source on this is Earl Carey, who works at a dog food factory, but he seems to think pretty convinced that the Marshall quarterback can't play. That he's forgotten how to play. Well, I mean, I'd rather be betting that he's going to continue. That was a week ago. I mean, that wasn't like 3 months ago, and he's had a month to figure out what to do. I think he probably doesn't know how to play still. That was just a week ago. So I think we have a good chance that Buffalo's going to be able to run the ball. I think Marshall's going to be able to probably struggle to score. They're probably going to want to throw the ball a lot. And I don't know if conditions are going to be all that conducive to that. We're going to lay the 4.5 and say Buffalo. Marshall's really going to want to be there. They really have to want to be there to stop Buffalo's rushing attack. And I think it's more likely than not that they're just going to, both teams are probably going to just be kind of half-assing it, I think a little bit. I'll take the team that has the running attack. And that's Buffalo. So we're going to say that's our top play. I don't know what that means because we haven't gotten anything right in college football all year long. But we'll lay the 4.5 with Buffalo. Sorry, Marshall people. Sorry, Marshall people. But we're going to go ahead with Buffalo. Plus, I actually think Buffalo has a slight coaching edge, too. All right. Top play, or I should say the top game, the game everybody wants to see, the game everybody wants to know about. Well, we're on, of course, if you've watched more than one of these videos, You know we love the Vikings. Yeah, I went round and round with this one and spent a good hour trying to figure out what the right answer is. And I really kind of think it's the Vikings. I really do. I mean, the Saints don't really need this game. I mean, for them to get the #1 seed, something pretty unusual have to happen. The Packers would have to dump both games. That's not going to happen. The Packers are too good. They might lose one game, but they're not going to lose them both. I think the Saints know that. Saints coming off a loss to the Chiefs, I view that as a deflator. You know, they're just down. It's like, oh, gee, you know. So I don't know you're going to get your top effort out of the Saints here. I think the Saints might be thinking, all right, maybe we'll ramp it up in you know, the last game of the year, or maybe we'll crank it up in that wild card game, whoever we play in that first round. But I just don't see a top effort here from the Saints. Plus, that's a team, I said we're going to fade this team all year long. I think this is a team at the end of its rope. You know, you've got, you know, Breeze is just about finished. Taysom Hill, is he the answer? I don't know. Yeah, no, I'm comfortable fading the Saints here. This is the Saints have never been a really great home team, especially as a big favorite. Hell, the last time out, the Vikings beat these guys down there last year in the playoffs. And I don't think the Saints respect the Vikings. I don't think the Saints think they're on par or near par with the Vikings. So I don't think the Saints are going to come out with this big chip on their shoulder for revenge. I actually think you might see a very similar game to what you saw last year in the playoffs. You know, basically the Vikings matching the Saints blow for blow, and this game coming down to a field goal or so. Now, I put 7 there. Now, this is why you come to the barn. You come to the barn to learn things. And you're not going to learn things like this anywhere else. Let me get my notes here. That figures. So I put it somewhere else. Well, I'll have to go by memory. In most places, this game is 6.5. There are two. I'll give you two books here: Heritage, offshore book, and Bet Online, offshore book. So at Bet Online, the Vikings are +7, -120. Whereas at Heritage, they're +6.5, -108. All right, what's that mean? Now, those are the best Viking lines that are out there, at least of what I saw. So, what does that mean? -120 means we have to give the bookie $120 to win 100. And we get 7 points. Whereas Heritage, we have to give the bookie $108 to win 100. But we only get 6.5 points. So, which one's better? Which one's better? You know, stop the video right now and think about that to yourselves. Which one would you take? What is the correct answer? Is there a correct answer? Does it matter? Is it 6 of one, half dozen of another? Well, there is a correct answer here, so, you know, think about this. Which one would you take? Well, to get the answer, you either need to be really good at math, or you need to just simply go on the internet and find what they call a half-point calculator. Half-point calculator. The one I use is at sportsbookreview.com. I believe that's right. SBR, half-point calculator. And all you got to do then is just enter in the variables into the calculator. Basically, what is the dog odds? What is the price? In other words, the dog odds are +7 at -120. And then the calculator will tell you what the equivalent of that is at 6.5. And the answer is at 6.5, it's like -105 and change, I believe. Again, doing this by memory. 104, 105, something like that. Now, what does that mean? That means if you can find a 6.5 line that's under that, in other words, let's say it was 6.5 -102, or +100, -101. You would take the 6.5, even though you're thinking, well, I always want the 7. I always want the key number. I want the 7. Well, yeah, probably, generally speaking, but there's a limit there. In other words, if I could get 6.5 at 100 with no VIG, I would want the 6.5 just because it's so much cheaper. I don't have to pay any VIG. I'm paying a lot of VIG there, to get that key number. So there is a limit there, and in this case, the answer is the +7, because the -108 is above the break-even number that the calculator tells us. How does the calculator work? Well, without going into a lot of the math details, the key things it knows that you don't really know is how often in this case it's the pros, how often an NFL game falls on particular numbers. That's the key piece of information that the calculator uses to figure out what VIG numbers are important. In other words, the calculator, in order to get the correct answer, the calculator has a huge database that says, okay, I know, based on history, that these games are going to fall exactly at 7 at such and such a percent. That's what the calculator has pumped into that black box there that you don't know. Can you do it manually without a calculator? Yeah, probably, but you'd have to crunch those numbers yourself with some huge database of previous scores to figure out how often a game is going to land at specific numbers. That's why you just use a calculator. Just use the calculator. So easy. It's easy. So that is why I've got it up there at 7. That may float even higher, where you don't even have to pay the steep VIG. That may go, because I kind of figured the number's going to go toward, or the money's going to come in on the Saints here. That's just a gut feeling. I would think the Saints are going to be the public choice here. But we like the Vikings. I mean, the Vikings are, there's some talent on that team. That Jefferson kid, he's going to be, in the mix for Rookie of the Year. You got Dalvin Cook, Phelan, he's still on that team. Cousins is, he's good enough. I mean, he'll keep you in it. He's not an embarrassment. He's not Carson Wentz. Yeah, I'm not embarrassed to say, sure, we'll take the 7 points and take the Vikings. That's what we'll do. All right, lastly, we got the Super Iowa team here, which I don't know. I mean, I guess they're being considered as the best team in the Big Ten. I'm not sure they are. I'm certainly not sure they are. A lot of great teams in the Big Ten this year. Iowa, I would say, has the best player. Now, one thing I looked in Garza's numbers, he seems to, really play well at, Carver Arena? Is that the name of the Iowa arena? He seems to play really well at home. There's a definite drop-off in his play when he goes on the road, which is somewhat understandable because, when he's at home, he's playing, Chicago State. He's playing Kennesaw Mountain, whatever the hell. When he goes on the road, the only thing he's going on the road to do is play Big Ten opponents, and they're all tough. So we're going to take the Gophers here. We're going to take the Gophers here. We're going to put 1 star on it. Just kind of think that Yeah, I like, I mean, I'm a little hesitant because I could see, you know, if I was trying to motivate my team, and I was Fran McCaffrey, coach of Iowa, I would be telling them, it's like, look, the whole world's watching this game. There's nothing else on tonight, nothing. You are the only sporting event on TV right now. You're getting a huge audience for this game. Go out and beat the shit out of these guys. Go out and show those NBA scouts that you deserve to get your own sneaker. You know, do whatever. So, and in those kind of star games like that, you know, I think you want the stars. That being said, that's a lot of points to be laying on the road. And Minnesota's not a terrible team. That's not a terrible team. So I think this, you know, looking at historical scores of these two teams playing each other, the spread is almost always close. It's hardly ever Iowa by 7 or more. So yeah, I mean, I know this could be a shootout. You know, Iowa, they're going to want to score some points probably. But, you know, I'm just going to go ahead and say it's going to be close. It's going to be close. Tough to win on the road in the Big Ten. Maybe this is not an opponent that Iowa takes too seriously, maybe to their detriment. And Minnesota keeps it close. That's our thinking there. All right, so these are our Christmas picks. We got Michigan State at home. We got Maryland on the road. We're going to say that the Buffalo Bulls are going to cover the 4.5 in the Camellia Bowl. We like the Minnesota Vikings down in New Orleans to cover that touchdown. And then lastly, the Timberwolves getting 7. Hey, I hope everybody has a happy holiday. Hope everybody enjoys their Christmas. Let's win some games. You know, if you didn't get your whatever that you asked for, well, let's win some bucks on some games, and maybe that'll make you feel better. Hey, you win some games, you can go buy it yourself, right? So that's always an option. All right, good, thanks. Appreciate it. Hit the like button. That always makes me feel good. And we'll have some more picks out for you probably tomorrow. Thanks, and we'll see you again.